Nancy Pelosi's 25th Amendment bill is really just a way to try and upend the election, stop President Trump, and halt the Supreme Court nomination of Amy Coney Barrett. At least that's my opinion, and I think it's a fairly good one. Today, Nancy Pelosi brought up legislation which would allow Congress to interfere under the 25th Amendment and essentially remove President Trump from office. The 25th Amendment essentially says that you get a group of people together who are a majority of principal officers of the executive departments or of such other bodies as Congress, and they will decide if the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. If they decide he is not capable of being president, he will be removed, albeit temporarily, and the vice president will become the acting president. Generally speaking, the ones who make that decision are the vice president in consultation with the president's cabinet. So if we look at Mike Pence and Trump's cabinet, it seems very unlikely that they would determine he is not capable of being president. And so, because Nancy Pelosi doesn't want that to happen, she decided to choose a different body instead. The 25th Amendment also permits Congress to establish an alternative body rather than the cabinet. But such a body has never been created. So instead of looking to Trump's cabinet for them to say he's not fit to be president, Pelosi is going to create her own group of people who will undoubtedly be 100% unbiased because Nancy Pelosi is in no way biased at all. And it's not as if Congress is controlled by the Democrats, so I'm sure they're going to be completely unbiased in their decision here. Now, Nancy Pelosi claims this has nothing to do with Trump or the election. She says this is not about President Donald Trump. He will face the judgment of the voters. And this is not about the election at all. So if it's not about the election or about Trump specifically, why is it being brought up right now? Well, it's because of the medication that Trump is currently on. Pelosi speculated that when Trump had an abrupt decision to pull out of a stimulus talk, that he may have been influenced by his medication, saying, there are people who think that steroids have an impact on your thinking. So I don't know. Which inspires a lot of confidence in me that she knows what she's talking about. Specifically, she's referring to the fact that earlier this week, President Trump tweeted out saying he would no longer have talks with Congress about stimulus relief. And shortly after that, he walked back the decision and said he was going to have talks again. So essentially, he tweeted something he shouldn't have tweeted in the first place and then tried to walk it back with another tweet. That is the entire basis of Nancy Pelosi's legislation. President Donald Trump tweeted something he shouldn't have tweeted, changed his mind in a tweet later, and that means he's unfit for office. Now, maybe I'll get some hate for this from my diehard conservative fans, but President Trump tweets stupid things on a regular basis. It's almost every single day. To claim that that makes him unfit for office, that's just absurd. This is obviously a political ploy by Nancy Pelosi to try and upend the election, to hurt Donald Trump about a month before the election, or to maybe stop the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett because they really hate her. There are a number of things, and it all has to do with President Trump and the election. Pelosi said that we need to let Congress exert the power the Constitution gave us, which is humorous because President Trump is given powers by the Constitution to nominate a Supreme Court justice, and the Senate is given powers to confirm that nomination. But Pelosi and the Democrats, they want us to ignore that power, but we should look at the power that Congress is given by the Constitution. What the Senate and the President can do is irrelevant, but what Congress can do, now that's important. Now, as this article points out, it's unlikely anything serious will come of this. First and foremost, because they don't have the Senate. The Senate is still controlled by the Republicans, and so even if Congress were to somehow bring forth a body and say the president was not capable, it would have to go through the Senate, and that wouldn't happen. So if nothing is going to come from this, it's obvious this is just for political points. And the only political point she can gain is trying to hurt Donald Trump. She's hoping that raising the 25th Amendment, I guess at the very least, will have some people question whether or not Trump is actually fit for office. And the fact that we're less than 1 month away from the election, has nothing to do with this? That's completely ridiculous. Don't give me that crap. Of course it does. The fact that President Trump is currently nominating Supreme Court Justice also has nothing to do with this, which is also complete nonsense. Of course it does. If it does move forward, there's the possibility the Senate would have to vote on this. So perhaps Pelosi is hoping that the Senate will waste time on stupid stuff like this and not get around to confirming Amy Coney Barrett. Now, that's just speculation, but I think it's much more based in reality than Pelosi speculating that Trump's steroids are somehow making him crazy. I mean, come on. And this is a prime example of why a lot of people hate politics. Because of nonsense like this, that is purely political, it is purely partisan, and it's only for political points. Nothing real is going to happen from this. It's literally just to say, this is where I stand, and I hate President Trump. That's it. Anyway, it's stupid. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.